Always takes a little bit.
No problem.
We're live right now.
Live in your room.
Here I am with Paul Menel. And the first time I found out about him, I was saying off camera that back in about 93, I went to see IQ in Los Angeles. And afterwards, I went and bought all their CDs, and I got his ones where he was on.
Ooh, what an album. Oh, even better. And magic, magnifique.
And I got the little blue dots on there.
Yeah,
At one time I was categorizing them, and I don't remember what the categories for that were. But
well, thank you for having me here.
Oh, you're welcome.
No.
I'm glad we finally got the Zoom thing cleared.
Yeah, it's all fine now.
So
welcome to Menel Mansions, in my stately home, with the Swan Lake and the fishing rights for salmon and stuff. Well, it's the butler's night off, so if the phone rings, I'll have to answer it myself. But apart from that, I'm all yours.
Yeah. So tell me about your days with IQ. I mean, there was to me there was an obvious change in the sound, but not like bad. Yeah. But I mean, I think you always have to change a band sound when you have a different singer.
Well, it would, if I joined and it sounded just like Pete Nichols singing, it would sound like a tribute band. Right. I really admire what Pete did with the band, and it's those two albums I was sent that I fell in love with IQ. It wasn't really a systematic kind of change of the sound. I think it just, because of the way Martin plays keyboards and the way my vocals are much more melodic, I think we just really bounced off each other. So that naturally came to the fore a much more melodic and commercial sound. And I think IQ really needed that. I mean, at the end of the day, they were blazing the trail, to 500 people at the marquee and stuff like that, but we really needed to be a bit more savvy and a bit more worldwide. And I think we had a brilliant guitarist, Mike Holmes, still is a brilliant guitarist. Obviously Martin's keyboard, Tim Eason, brilliant bass player, and then Paul's, pounding rhythm. I think it was just destined to be, and I really thought we were going to do something. And it wasn't me coming into the band and saying, well, okay, you've done that, we don't want to do it again, let's move forward. It was like just a telepathic sort of signal and link between us all to kind of do that. So we're kind of, I don't know, really dragging progressive rock into the 90s. That's what I did it as. But not kind of Marillion, because Marillion was still very much, for my money, less commercial, even though they had like big hit singles.
Right.
But we were writing a lot more commercial stuff, and I think with the right backing, we would have been meteoric. But unfortunately, there you go.
Well, I always thought that of all the bands of that time from the UK, that IQ and Marillion were like top tier.
Yeah.
And so when they changed from Fish to Hogarth, they had a change in their sound.
Yes.
And it did kind of go a little more commercial at the beginning. But then I guess it didn't work out for them that way. I'm not sure the reasons, but I always think it's like a band should just do what a band does best.
We never ever sat down at a meeting or rehearsal and said, we need to change our style. This is what we're going to be doing. When I first joined IQ, within a month of being in the band, we'd written Non Zamo, Still Life, and Promises. And they just came literally within a few days. And the band used to live in a house in Harlesden, which is in kind of North London. And I mean, I sang those 3 demos in the same day, actually in the toilet. We got stopped at the only place that we actually had to record anything. I listened to them the other day and they still sound brilliant. I mean, for me, the actual, the original demo of Promises is actually astonishing. So as I say again, it was symbiotic. That's what it was that actually made that sound. And then we had great producers. For the first time, we had Ken Thomas, he was out there. He was a bit eclectic. But then we had Terry Brown, Rush's producer for the second album, which is just a fantastic sounding album. And he was part of it.
And speaking of Promises, the music video, I mean, that was a good way to.
That was fun.
You know,
I was learn the lyrics backwards.
Yeah, it was weird that it was just weird to see, IQ up on MTV here.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, sure.
And I'm not sure what the rotation wise, but MTV was kind of weird when it came to how many times they would play a video.
Rotation was a bit bizarre. It seemed to me they were kind of making up as they went along. You never knew it was going to be on. But
right, it's like, and but it was kind of in a way a little of a Beatlesque kind of the way the video was going, with going backwards,
Oh yeah, yeah. It was fun, like when Mike catches the guitar, comes from like stage. It was great fun to do, throwing the guitar over the cliff and the bass drum rolling around. It was really good. It was absolutely freezing that day. Because top of Beachy Head. I mean, it's the big suicide point of England. People throw themselves off the cliffs.
Right. I heard about.
They didn't want to stand too close because there were lots of there's blustery in there. But it was very fun. It was good days. I mean, I watched the Drive On video back the other day, and that's a great video.
It was nice, when you look back at those videos, and they really, compared to some of the other ones that MTV was putting out, it was like you watching something big budget compared to some of these other ones that look like.
I mean, the big American kind of, if I can say this, that's like the cock rock video. Wasn't really IQ's cup of tea. I mean, we were kind of British and proud of it. So the funny little scripts and the kind of comedic, almost carry-on-like sort of scripts appealed to us. So that's what we chose video directors for that element. And if they wanted us to be a little like Europe or Aerosmith, would have turned that down flat. They do that stuff good, but we do what we do really well.
Yeah. So when I got this one, the Nomzamo, obviously the first track, no love lost. I mean, that a great way to start off an album. I always think that whether it's prog or regular rock, you got to start off with something strong. And
when we started recording, we'd written the songs, but when we started recording, we recorded the backing tracks, the drums and stuff, in an old warehouse in Wapping, which is in the middle of London. And Paul kind of it just sounded fantastic. The natural reverb was just incredible. And he really, when he kicked up that No Love Lost, it just sounded like John Bloody Bonham playing.
Right.
It just real crash bang wallop feeling. It's fantastic. And that just set the tone and the mood for the album. So I love No Love Lost. I mean, at that stage, my writing, I'd politicized myself slightly for that album as well. I was reading an awful lot about the apartheid system in Africa. So No Love Lost, Promises, and Nomzamo were literally about that system. I mean, Nomzamo, the actual word itself is Winnie Nelson Mandela's wife, Winnie Mandela. That's her tribal name. Nomzama means one who will suffer many trials. And he just seemed very, obviously, latterly, we know what she was like, but at that point, we didn't know what she was like. But it just came to me. In the same way that Common Ground was about, obviously, the Battle of the Songs. I read a fantastic piece, and then I just wrote a poem, and that fit perfectly with some music that Mike had come up with. So things just happened.
That was a very atmospheric song for IQ at that point.
Yeah.
You know,
it's funny you mentioned, because myself and my promotions manager Gary, we've just been talking. I spoke the other day, and he said, "I love that song." So obviously, we're going to be playing it this year anyway. And he said it needs an orchestra. Wouldn't it be great with a real orchestra? And I thought, God, yeah, I can really hear that. So straight away, he went. We parted company. He went home, messaged me about an hour later, said, "Right, I've talked to an orchestra. They would love to come and do it." So we're going to be doing it with an orchestra. When we'll do it for Remembrance Day on the 11th of the 11th, and put an orchestra together and do it live.
Yeah, that, and also the song Human Nature. That was another
classic.
That one was, it's like it was a long one, but it is very punchy throughout the whole thing.
The whole IQ ethos really was. I mean, I think that was made up from 3 or 4 different songs, but we kind of weaved them together. The lyrical content obviously is a natural weave through it. So that's how Human Nature came along. I think Mike had a couple of pieces, and so did Martin. I'd got a little bit. We just moved into right, the jigsaw, put them all together, sang over it, and that was it. It sometimes sounds complicated, but it's not. It's really easy when you're in a great band with musicians like that.
Right. And from what you just said, it doesn't sound like it was pieced together. It sounds like it was
no.
So that's right there. That's
I came to the band with a lot of poetry. So the Human Nature, the free as the wind, as a tree, those kind of first 4 lines, that idea about being coming out of the ocean and our evolution, that was something that was in my mind anyway, about trying to adapt that into a song from a poem. And that happened a lot with me throughout the years with IQ. I was a voracious poet, writing lots of stuff. And some I think, oh yeah, that music, I think that would lend itself, or my words would lend itself really well to the music. And sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't.
Yeah, and then those on this one, it has bonus tracks, Color Flow, and then the No Love Lost piano vocal version, and then a live version.
The No Love Lost piano and vocal, that came out of when we went over to do the Paradiso Club in Holland in '86. Basically, there was a festival like in a marketplace called Eindhoven, and they were collecting money and old farm tools, coincidentally, for Africa. So there was a stage, and they were selling, burgers and hot dogs and stuff. And they were talking, and I said, Martin, I just said to Martin, do you fancy going up and playing a bit, Martin? I'll sing with you. And that's how it came about. I've got the tape of it somewhere, and it's literally myself and Martin getting up on stage live and singing "No Love Lost" together. And it was. I don't know. It brings tears to my eyes. It was such a lovely space in time,
Right,
really
right.
Good.
And it's a perfect song that could be, full band or just piano vocals.
Exactly. I'm just going to adjust this screen. My iPad keeps falling over. Just bear with me. That's better. So that's really how that song started, and that's really where we were in the studio. We had a bit of spare time, and I said to Martin, "Why don't we just do No Love Lost again, piano and vocal?" So we did it. But one of my favorite tracks is one of the sort of bonus tracks on there, which is Color Flow. That's one of my favorite IQ songs that we ever did. It's completely left field for IQ, non-prog, slightly more pop, I suppose, but great. Loved it.
Back in the there we go. Back in the 90s,
technology.
I was
That's better.
I was kind of like if a prog band had to be all prog, but then as I'm getting older, it's like if the song comes out a certain way, it really doesn't matter whether it's prog or not. It
Well,
just
can you name me a band, a prog band, who every single song is prog? Because I've Genesis, no, they've got loads of singles. Pink Floyd, singles.
oh yeah,
Yes, singles. You know, so
oh yeah.
the list goes
So
on.
it's oh yeah. So it's like, you know, I think there was a lot of bands in the 90s that were just forcing themselves to sound, you know, 100% prog, and some of them come off perfectly. Some of them, it sounds so, like I said, forced. I mean, it just.
So can you give me a few examples? Like who?
Oh my goodness, there was a.
I remember in the 80s.
There was a lot of IQ sound-alikes in the 90s coming out of Europe. I don't remember, forget the name of the band, but it's like they put in like their long song, you know, a 20-minute song, and it just sounded like it literally just took clips of songs and just spliced them together. And it's almost as if at that time the bands felt, well, if we don't put a 20-minute song, we're going to lose our prog credentials, you know. And it's like
ours came about by it just accidentally. It just kind of worked for us. Not oh god, we've got like 3, 4, 5 4-minute songs. We really need like a 10.5-minute epic. Just wasn't the case. Conversation never ever happened. It's never did.
Well, later on in years, in 1997 at the Prague Festival in Los Angeles, when Martin was playing in the John Wetton band.
Oh yeah.
I spoke with him afterwards. It was Saturday night from like 2 until almost dawn.
Isn't he a lovely guy? Isn't he the nice guy?
And I asked him, I said, about epics, and he goes, if it basically in a nutshell, he said, if it happens, it happens. We don't go out saying we want a 20-minute song. It just, if it goes to 20 minutes, fine. If it doesn't, fine. You know, it doesn't. So it's like they're not trying to create that. It's just I think a lot of the really good epics.
Sure.
You know.
Yeah. Yeah, I completely agree. Completely agree. But he's such a nice guy, Martin, isn't he?
Oh yeah.
He's an incredible talent. I really miss playing with, playing in a band with him, because he's a nice guy. He's one of the most plastic people.
I heard right now he's
playing with Jadis.
With Jadis, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, they're doing like 2 gigs. He's terrified of COVID. I mean, he's really gone kind of insular, and he's really not. He's not really interested in playing music now, because he's kind of had that. He's done that. He's very into steam trains, old-fashioned 1940s, 50s, 60s English steam trains. That's his life at the moment. And fair play to the guy.
Then we got the next one here. This is like a little compilation.
That was an album released after I'd already left. I don't really know that album, to be honest.
It has half of things with you and half with Peter.
Yeah.
But with you, it has It All Stops Here, Sarah.
Now, Sarah is my song. That's the song I actually physically wrote myself.
Intelligent Quotient.
Yeah. Those originally were recorded by Pete.
Right. And then these were your recordings.
Live, yeah. But that's not an album that's sanctioned by me.
And then the last ones, Common Ground, Promises, and a Warrange.
Are these live versions?
It doesn't say whether or not they are, but there is. You can
tell I've done work here. It's not really an album that I'm familiar with at all.
Yeah, it was just the last half were live.
Yeah,
and then there was a medley. I'm not sure don't remember who sang the medley with Last Human Gateway, Outer
probably-
Limits.
Sounds like that.
That'd probably be Peter.
Well,
I think they
yeah.
only had 2 songs off of him from Peter,
Yeah.
and then the other 6 are yours. I guess
And what
it
are
just,
you sing? How about the next album? Are you singing comfortably? What do you think about that? There we go. That one.
there.
What a piece of music.
Oh yeah, it's got a lot of singles on this one, or
Yeah.
single sounding songs. I
Yeah.
mean, War Heroes, Drive On,
Stolen
Sold
You.
on You, Through My Fingers,
Yeah.
Nothing at All. Those ones are the I would say
That's
the
the
more
thing.
commercial side of
Yeah,
IQ.
Yeah.
And then you have the 2-parter Nostalgia, Falling Apart at the Seams, and then Orange.
Yeah. Correct.
And this was, and then okay, the bonus they have is a live version of Nothing at All.
Which I heard the other day, actually. It was quite liked it. It's quite a good version.
Yeah, when I got this, it's like, okay, I did notice quite a difference between Nomzamo and that one.
From a
And
sound view or
sound point, because obviously, I think it's because of Terry Brown, because it
Oh,
just sounds like
Genie.
the sound was
Yeah.
elevated a little bit more.
He'd just been fairly successful with a band called Cutting Crew. Do you remember the song they
Yes.
had, Just Died in Your Arms Tonight? So he was coming from, as well as that fantastic Rush sound, he was kind of bringing that commerciality to the table as well. And I really noticed that on things like, the good thing about Terry is a story for him. He would not let you give anything less than 110%. When you come into the studio, you started on time. He'd be really annoyed with you if you weren't there on time. And you'd sit, and it wasn't like a rock and roll, get a Jack Daniels out, let's just have a laugh. This was like, you're working, this is the work ethic, I'm going to put this in, and you're going to come out with a great sounding album. I've heard the demos, they're fantastic, so you will sound great. And if you gave anything less than 110%, he would give you a right rollicking, no matter whether you're a band leader, he wasn't backwards in coming forwards, Terry. But it made such a difference. Ken Thomas was fantastic with Nomzamo, but he was very laissez-faire, and he'd spend 5 minutes looking at a cabasa, just playing with a cabasa. It was just very odd. But Terry, you had to be on the ball, and he loved me because I really was into vocal sounds and blah blah blah. He didn't have a great relationship with Mike Holmes. I think Mike will be the first to actually say that. They clashed a little bit because they got very strong personalities, and Mike knew his sound, didn't like working for guitar sounds, whereas Terry loved, that was his art, was making the guitar sound good. Right. But he was a lovely man, and I think what he brought, he was a 6th band member when you were when you were recording.
Oh yeah, he's
yeah.
It's just with the like I said earlier, the overall sound, and it seemed to have been kind of I'd say elevating you guys even more and positioning you guys more towards more bigger things.
Exactly. He really was paving the way for that. And that's why it was such a shame when we got the Mike and Mechanics tour straight after that, and we were fantastic. I mean, we just went on stage and played like Led Zeppelin, in the fact we just plugged in. There's nothing, keyboards was all live, we didn't have any backing tapes, completely different to what Mike and the Mechanics were. And it really showed that we were there just for the love of it. And for my money, we blew them off stage every single night. We really did. But they were lovely guys. I mean, Mike Rutherford has been a fan of IQ for years, and he personally chose us. So it was such a great tribute and opportunity for us to kind of grow. But unfortunately, we imploded, as a lot of bands do. We did a spinal tap.
Well, that's one of the things that I notice in bands. It's like when you get to a certain
Well, just
certain height, you know, you got, there's only two ways to go, you know, up or down.
well, yeah.
Unfortunately, you know.
Well,
and
that's
it's
what Nick Barrett said, fly high, fall far.
But also too, I really think if, you know, and I don't think you guys were doing it, but I think if a band is just there to be a hit single band,
Yeah.
you know, that's going to be something where, you know,
we were
hit-
there, Tom, we were there for the long haul. We
Yeah.
weren't a one-hit wonder. We just, you know, here today, gone later today. We really wanted to be along for the long haul. I mean, I you know, I wanted to be sort of 65 and retiring as a lead singer for IQ. I didn't want to be, you know, a flash in the pan, you know. And I think we were writing music for, we're basically writing music that would, again, accidentally, but would actually appeal to new fans and older generational fans. So
Right.
we were keeping people with us, but also opening the doors for other people to kind of jump on board if they like the sound.
Right.
You know.
And I heard,
Hmm.
and I think I had the rumor was sort of confirmed that after you left, there was a 4-piece version of IQ.
Yeah, there was. Martin sang for a few shows.
Martin said, yeah. So it's like, and what was it?
And then
Les Marshall did the
Les
bass.
Marshall was the bass player. Yeah, when he replaced
Yeah.
Tim.
So it's basically
Before
you and
Les.
Tim. You and Tim
Yeah.
left.
That's right. Yeah, we left, and then Les joined on bass, and unfortunately he died.
Yeah.
Martin sang. He was a great singer anyway, so he sang for 3 shows. Then obviously they enticed Peter back, and I can understand that really for their point of view. They should. Pete was the obvious choice because well, he got a history with him, a back catalogue. And I think he'd be the first one to actually admit that obviously he didn't have the kind of range of melodies that I possessed. So I think that's what I brought to the table. But he's a much better prog man than I am, because he has that kind of phrasing of stuff that I don't have. I'd rather leave that bit to better people than I am. I've got enough to contend with what I try to do. But it was a natural thing. But what I sort of said, that wasn't progressive rock. I write progressive rock. There was a bit more of a retrograde step for me and regressive rock. But nothing bad about that. There's nothing negative about that. It's them playing to their strengths or what they consider to be their strengths. I just don't think that they realised how much of a mainstream following that they had.
There is a lot of bands now that don't go past their sound, or not so much their sound, their style past 1970 something. You know, it's like it ended stylistically then, so we're only going to sound like that.
Yeah.
You know, forevermore. You know, and it's like,
yeah, and I kind of understand that, Ron. Yeah,
and that's good, but you know, but then there's a lot of bands and that do progress, they do evolve. You know, I think that's more of the word is evolve, because
that's true.
You know, it's like I've seen IQ, unfortunately not with you, because I found out about them in the 90s, and I've seen them about 4 times, and each time they sounded slightly different than the previous time. It's almost in some sense the newer stuff is heavier sounding than.
I'm not sure whether you saw it, but I put a cheeky little think post on Facebook saying, well, listen, you know, I love Mike and Mechanics, and they got 2 brilliant vocalists playing, you know, singing different types of songs, you know, the great, you know, Paul Young, and Paul Carrick. And I said, how would it be if I rejoined IQ and Pete sang his stuff and I sang mine? And
I saw that.
But of course, it was just literally throwaway, and it just never worked. I think what you get is a polarization of fans, and I think that's always the way now with Pete Gabriel and Collins. You still have that now of, you know, people who love the Knife or people who love, the 11th Earl of Mar, and never the two shall meet.
Right.
There's a great respect for the different eras of the singers and the music, but not coming together.
I don't think that really had. I mean, unless the band starts off with two singers,
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think there's ever been one where.
And there probably should never be one.
And there's some of the bands from the IQ era, like Palace, that now.
Yeah.
I think they had 4 singers so far.
I think
so. Yeah.
Graham's a fantastic singer. Graham should have stayed as lead singer. He's a superb singer.
It's Ewan.
Yes.
Then Alan. Okay, no. Then there's 3. Then I forgot the guy's name.
He's on the new stuff.
Yeah, he. Not saying anything bad. He looks like a healthier version of Iggy Pop.
Well, he could
much healthier. Much healthier. I mean,
Yeah.
Or like what Iggy Pop would have looked like if he didn't do all the drugs and stuff. And
well, it's when he went on stage and slashed himself. The body still got scars all over his body. I mean, that's hardcore. That's hardcore.
Yeah, that's. Well, very hardcore, and it's like, but
he was lined up. He was lined up to replace Jim Morrison in the Doors. Did you hear that?
No.
Yeah, he was. Could you imagine him replacing Jim Morrison as the Door? I mean, no way. He's American. Well, you Americans like. In fact, look, I've got this on.
Oh, the Tubes, yeah.
Oh, favorite band of all time.
I just got into them over the pandemic. I knew of some of their 80s hits.
Yes.
And I saw the box set that had the first, I think, 4 or 5 albums, and it was on sale for $20.
Oh, you're joking! What a steal!
I was like, for 5 albums for $20, you can't beat that. And so I got it and fell in love with the music. So
they're absolutely. This is my bloody thing. I've seen them. I saw them fairly recently, actually. They supported Alice Cooper over here, and his voice, Fee Wayville's voice, is still as good as it was. I just adore them. I just love and I'm so pleased that with the Essentials we've got like 4 or 5 singers as well, because their vocal, the Tubes' vocal harmonies are just, and I write a lot of backing vocals, are just phenomenal. That's what I loved about them. And the stage antics, the little shows that they used to put on, all the different characters. Super.
Well, when I saw that, what is it, Quaalude?
Quaalude, yeah.
Quaalude. And that song, White Punks on Dope.
White Punks on Dope. That was a massive hit in England.
Yeah, and he put that video. They have a uncensored version of that video
of him naked,
almost naked. It's like wardrobe malfunction,
Yeah, well, yeah. Luckily, he's not that big naturally, but still, it was. But I love them, and I love Sparks as well. They're another great, the Menel brothers. I adore them.
Yeah, and for the longest time, the Sparks, everybody thought they were British.
Well, that's strange, because for the first 10 years that I knew them, I thought they were German. How weird is that? And they're American. They're from Santa Monica or whatever it is. But again, a fantastic, and it's amazing when they did a documentary recently, and it's amazing how many bands, and real top bands, Pet Shop Boys, to name one, have been seriously influenced by Sparks. There's such an eclectic mix of great lyrics and great tunes.
Oh yeah, and they always, every decade they seem to evolve into some newer version of themselves.
I went to see them because they played over here. They played 21 shows in 21 nights, but playing a different album every night. And they were superb. It was breathtaking.
Oh,
Anyway, okay, back to me now. Back to me. Go on.
okay. After IQ, so this is
Yeah.
1990, right?
1989, 89.
89.
Yeah.
What did you do then?
Well, got drunk. And then in 1990, I forgot 19. I don't know what happened in 1990. I was too drunk. No, well, I was with a kind of long-term, a long-term sort of in a long-term relationship with a girl, and we just I didn't want to tour again. I had a lot of invites for people saying, "I love your voice," you know, blah blah blah. Do you want to come? And I didn't want to come and play with anyone else. It was just I just still kept writing. I just took a bit of time off, and then my first son in the early 90s, he kind of came along. So I just thought, this is great. I just want to, I've made a bit of money from IQ, so I bought a flat and stuff. I just wanted to set down some roots. You must remember that when I joined IQ, I was still 22, 23. And I was from a small town in the north of England. I moved down to London. So I was missing all my friends, all my work colleagues, all that kind of stuff. It was quite a big deal. And I think I'd gotten a little bit lonely, I think. And it was just great being in a relationship. And as I say, I just wanted to put down some roots and grow a family, in effect.
Right.
So that's what I did. And then, of course, that itch came back and the scar tissue started creaking in about 1993. And so in a local pub, and I bumped into a guy and had a drink, and he's on bass player. Oh, great. Okay, I'm an old singer. What band? Oh, I used to be in IQ. Oh, God, yeah. I've got a guitarist friend. And he had a guitarist friend who put me in touch with a keyboard player's friend. And then we met a drummer, Joyce, and yeah, I'd quite like to do this again. So we got together, we played a little bit, and I'd already written them some songs anyway. We recorded them, and that was the band that was the Great Outdoors. And we released an album. But I didn't really want to leave and start touring in a bloody transit band and start the band off from scratch, which is exactly what I would have had to do. So again, I kind of withdrew into myself, and it was just a one-off album, which to me is still probably the best album I've ever written and recorded. It's got a great eclectic mix of folk, rock. It's a lovely, lovely sounding album, and I think I sing the best I've ever sung on that. So we played a few gigs, and then I kind of broke it up in 96, I guess. And then for a long time, I just wrote, worked, still living in London. And then I formed the Paul Menel band. We went out to Europe and did quite a few concerts and stuff. And I recorded my first, what is considered my first solo album. And the rest is history. This new project I'm doing with Paul Menel and the Essentials. The album of that is Spare Parts for Broken Hearts. I've got a bunch of musicians that I just adore. They're such lovely, lovely guys, and I call them the band of strangers. These are the band that Facebook put together. I mean, I was on my own, and the two guys, my mainstay guys, of the guitarist and the bass player and now drummer, they're becoming successful in their own right, so they didn't want to really do Paul Menel Band 2. So on Facebook, I went up on Facebook and said to all my lovely Facebook friends, does anybody know a bass player they can recommend? Because I'm out of the loop. There must be someone that you've heard, can recommend, blah, blah. And that was it. Every single band member were recommended by friends, videos, whatever. And I could not have put a better band together if I'd scoured the ends of the earth for millennia.
Right.
There's such a great bunch of guys, really nice guys. So that's what the next thing is we just we're booking a tour as we speak. We've got about 20 dates booked already in April, right, with a view to going to back into Europe in June, July as well. So it's the big push now.
Oh yeah, it's amazing what Facebook can do. I mean, we always hear the bad stuff, but we never get to hear the good things. Like, where you know, in your case, you get a band together. There's other people that may have friends that they lost touch with, and all of a sudden, you know, Facebook brings them back after
Yeah, that's
decades, you know. So it's like we never
yeah,
get to hear the positive things,
true.
you know, because
I think
honestly, bad news sells.
yeah, it's true, but so does good. And the thing is, I mean, we've had Jordan Brown, bass player, superb guy. Obviously, we're going to be playing. It's Nom's Army. It's the 35th anniversary of Nom's Army coming out this year.
Oh,
So obviously, I'm going to be touring with that, as well as some of my songs. But we're going to play the whole album back to back, and all the tracks and everything. But as well as that, we could do a few things from I Sing Comfortably. And Jordan, we had this wheeze, and I think it's a fantastic idea. Why don't we, each as a band member, record ourselves playing one of the songs, just over the original, but just a little bit louder, put bass over, put guitar over certain songs. So Jordan put a bass guitar over Orange, and just been playing Orange straight away. And it's got like 1,200 viewing so far. It's astonishing. People are very, very interested. It's
that is since the lockdown, that has been a big thing.
Yeah,
people playing
absolutely.
over a track.
Yeah.
And you did see the one where Fudge Smith did the
Yeah.
you know, it's like
yeah.
you know, it's just amazing. I mean, that's the positive things that come out, because
Yeah, absolutely.
as a musician,
we are looking for sort of diamonds in the dust, aren't we? Because it was such a bad 2 years. I mean, my album came out, well, Spare Parts for Broken Hearts was meant to be released, I think, about a month before the pandemic hit. So that's why it's still fresh now. So
right.
we're kind of selling it. It's just been recorded in effect. But yeah, I mean, Fudge has done some brilliant. He's a great guy, great drummer. And so is Gareth is a superb guitarist.
Oh, yeah.
I got Marcel Ragnazzi as well from Italy, and she's such a great guitarist. And Rob McDowell's a brilliant keyboard player. So I'm blessed.
Well, that's good. You know, it's always good to have a band where, you know,
Yeah.
you feel it, you know. I think over the lockdown, we had a lot of bands. There's a lot of bands that were created to do that, because you know, people doing things like Zoom. And I don't remember the name of there is an app right now where it doesn't have the lag of a Zoom does.
Oh, I see. Really?
Which they're marketing towards musicians so that they can play in real time with each other.
Oh, so like for live streaming and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's like a live stream thing. And that's the other thing.
Yeah.
Is I've been mentioning to just about everybody that with the pandemic, where there's some people that are still like myself that aren't feel 100% safe going to see a live show.
Yeah, sure.
And also, if someone is on the other side of the world that can't afford to travel to
No, that's a good point.
A live stream of a show would be perfect, because then you'll get all your fans. You know, there'll be like, you know, no reason why they couldn't see you.
I'll just say this wrong. Excuse me. Watch this space, because we've got a Bandcamp channel now, and a lot of our shows will be live streamed, and obviously live streamed prior, even in rehearsal, we'll live stream some stuff. So for those who can't make a show this time around, then they'll at least be able to get a chance to see us should they wish.
Yes, someone in the chat room said it could be something called Stage It.
Stage It? Is that
one word? Yeah.
Oh, it's Stage Hit with an H.
No, it's a Stage Hit.
All right, okay, IT, okay.
Yeah, so I'm not sure, but it's like, it's, new technologies are being
Sure.
developed. I mean,
Well,
it's good.
we're going to be this year. We're going to be. It's going to be a busy year. I've been invited over to South America as well for do a few shows. We've got to finalise that this year, and we're going to do a kind of second half of the UK tour. We're playing for the first time up in Scotland in the start of April, which is fantastic. So we're going across the UK as well. We're planning on getting over to Italy, mainland Europe, and Ireland as well. So it's going to be a really busy year. And it being, as I say, IQ, the Domzamo 35, we're going to film a lot of those shows as well. So that's a nice tribute to that album, because it was a well-received album.
Oh yeah, it was,
I'm
like
very
I said,
proud of it.
it's a very good album, and I think of a lot of albums that came at that time, even the commercial albums.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
one, some of those commercial albums were like of the time, and they don't have that timelessness to it.
Yeah.
Because I always think that no matter what your style of music is, you got to write a timeless song that it'll sound good in 5, 10, 30 years.
The only thing you can't actually govern is the fact that obviously in the 80s we had a lot of classic, like the Roland synths, we had the DX7s, the Yamahas stuff, where they kind of have a timeless 70s stroke 80s sound about them. But strip it all down to an acoustic guitar and a vocal melody, you got a great song. If you can do that, you got a great song.
Oh yeah.
So immaterial to what sounds you kind of embellish over the top. It's about the skeletal mass.
Oh yeah, yeah. And there's just some songs that just last a lifetime, and some of them just, when you hear it, you go, that's 1983. You can just.
I think basically what I always brought to a fold with the band was, someone asked me about this recently, actually, on my personal message, and said they've been reading my lyrics, which I can think of much better things to do, but they've been reading my lyrics, and they noticed something in my lyrics that they seem very personal, but they always had a story. They always had a start, middle, and end. And I wrote, I thought, actually, this guy's bloody knows more about my lyrics than me. It's true. I do that. I find I struggle to always even in strange songs, like for instance, Falling Apart the Seams. That never happened to me. I never got sectioned. Or did I? But then I didn't. But I had a doctor, basically. My doctor I used to live in Muswell Hill, which I mentioned about. I had a doctor called Dr. Winsley Stoltz. So I put in Dr. Winsley. So a lot of these things have kind of got moments of truth within them. I probably embellish them, but they're snapshots in time. My landlord wanted me out of the house when I was, and Les, the landlord, he came around and threatened me with his brothers. That actually happened. I mean, it didn't get physical, but there are little things like that. Soul on You is about my first girlfriend, which again is up north and stuff, and that's very personal. But people I wrote a thing on Facebook explaining what some of the lyrics were about, and people were just amazed and were so pleased that I've actually shared that. Because I'm in my 50s now, a lot of the people who actually are listening to the songs like Nomzamo and I Sitting Comfortably, I wrote them when I was like 22 to 25. Some kids were a bit younger than me, and they were listening to those songs, so things like Nothing at All. They were doing their exams with that as a soundtrack to their, do you know what I mean? So
right,
it can mean a hell of a lot, and that warms my heart to actually hear what they were going through when they first heard that song, where they were when they first heard that song, which is brilliant.
That's always amazing to when you go through life and you listen to music, and you can go back when I was, you hear a song and you're hoping most of the time that good memories when you hear that a certain song, and it teleports you back to that time, and plenty of so many of those and that I have, and also whenever I watch videos on YouTube of these bands where I grew up in the late 70s, early 80s,
You
you
see,
know, it's like, I want to go back there.
but don't you? This is what it's very strange now. When I was a massive Led Zeppelin fan and those kind of bands in the 70s. And you had to, I had to, everything was like humor. Everything was rumor about things. You had to wait for the next edition of Sounds magazines or Sound magazine or NME or those Melody Maker to actually find out what Robert Plant would be doing such and such, or Jimmy Page would be doing such. Now, people are sort of instant. You know everything about the band even before they do it.
Right.
So
right.
fans have got, they've kind of got a gateway straight into a band, and I think it's fantastic. I think you can still create a mystique by not always being there. So I never talk about my private life, but so there's things that are personal, but so you can create a mystique and a kind of need for someone to probably want to pry into band side of your life. You can do it, create yourself.
Back in, I think it was 94 or 95, after I got really into the band, I decided, and I got the band's blessing to do an American fan club.
Good.
I got clippings from them, but I was asking other sources and no one was doing that. And I was putting out, and I forget, they had some message board somewhere. And I was putting out, I need articles on the band, and I was getting nothing. So after about 9 months, I just said, okay, I guess it's not meant to be.
Not gonna be.
Nowadays, it's like on Facebook, I think there's like 4 IQ groups, and
I just think the other day with and God bless Gary, but I get this thing that fanzines really work. Fan clubs really work for me. They're a way of actually staying connected. It's old school, but what's wrong with old school? It worked then.
Oh yeah.
But so that's where myself and Gary had a few words about that. So I think we should get a fan club and again work with fanzines and stuff, because that's the groundswell. That's a starting point for a lot of people.
Oh yeah, you find out about all the bands, and it was always because I did subscribe to. There was 2 magazines that I got out of England. It was IQ Fan Club, that they did their thing, and Classic Rock Society put out a magazine. That was the only thing. So it's always so for someone in America to get mail from elsewhere and open it up, and it like, oh wow, and then to learn about bands that didn't hear about, and because I think since America is so big and so many different,
you're kind of spoiled
diversity.
You're spoiled for choice with music over there. But there's something great about British music over there. Still a draw for us.
Oh yeah, it is. But it's weird. Certain, and it's like, again, over the lockdown, I've been getting all sorts of stuff that I never heard. I heard of, but never heard them, like Budgie.
Oh my God, Budgie! Yeah,
you're right. You're right. I know.
You're right. He just died from Budgie. Unfortunately. But yeah, they're a great band, great 3-piece band. Long before Rush, a great band.
Oh yeah. So it's like, there's so much music out there.
Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I know we're going to be wrapping this up soon. I'm going to send you a little gift parcel now.
Okay.
For being very easy on me. I'll send you all the new Paul Menel essential stuff. Okay.
Okay. All right.
And then we'll have a chat about that when I come.
That sounds good. So you got your April tour, and and if people are out
April and May in Europe.
April and May. So if you're in the area or can afford to fly to the areas,
to Maine, to Bangor. in May.
Thank-
Is that where Jessica Fletcher lives?
No, that's where Stephen King lives.
Oh, I thought Jessica Fletcher, what's the thing? What's her program? Murder She Wrote. Isn't that Jessica Fletcher over there? Angela
Oh,
Lansbury.
Bar Harbor.
My favorite program.
Yeah. The old lady that solved all the
Oh,
crimes.
there must be some murders that haven't been solved. But yeah, I'd love to come to America. I mean, that's obviously you're on our radar. It's such a big country. But
Oh,
yeah,
yes.
maybe next year we'll get over there. With
There's a
your
lot
help,
of,
maybe
there's different areas. I honestly think, not saying that I'm up because I'm on the East Coast, but East Coast seems to be like the first,
Port call.
and then you move out west towards, go
Los
to the
Angeles.
Chicago area and then Los Angeles, San Francisco.
So would you say
Seattle.
the East Coast of the New York and down, or Maine's
Yeah.
up, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, there's
Well,
a lot.
we'll come next year. We'll come next year. How's that?
Well, you can always put your name into that Ross Fest. Ross Fest happens down in Florida
It does. Yeah,
every
we
spring.
tried to get on this year. Yeah, I think we already are on for next year, hopefully. So let's give that a try.
So
I'd
there's
love
something
to go
there. That's
Yeah.
it. I think that's the only big
Prog Fest.
festival here in North America right now.
Yeah.
Also, we have that Cruise to the Edge, but that's more. That's out in the sea.
We've put our names down on that as well this year. I'm not sure whether that'll work this time, but anyway, I must go because I'm desperate
Okay.
for tour. Is that okay if I go?
Okay, well, thank you again for taking the time out.
Oh, it's been my pleasure.
I'm glad we got this working.
Absolutely. It's lovely to put a face to the voice.
Yes.
And thank you. Thanks. We thank you, for all your support. Much appreciated.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
Yeah, buddy. You take care.
You too.
Bye bye.